Good day, and welcome back to the podcast Catch It, a new perception. I think about how we're moving forward with this episode along with this season. And I think about some of the things that we bring with us. How do we share our lives? How do you share this podcast? How do you appreciate this podcast? I look at the last episode and I had very few views. And if I personalize it, where does it take me? What does it do for me? And if I just let it go and say people didn't click on it because they're busy, they didn't whatever, and not look at what I didn't do good enough or what I did not do well enough, what I did not do. How about what I did do? What I did do is I was consistent and I put out a podcast every single week for the last 126, maybe. And so therefore, moving forward, I want to be able to continue to be consistent. Whether I have a couple of friends watching it, whether it blows up and 1 million people are watching it, whatever it is, how about I stay consistent? I want to, throughout this season, talk about lines I've heard. A line, or sometimes it's consecutive lines that I've heard. And I think about how sometimes people will see one thing different than other people will. How they look at life in general, how they hear certain things. And we've talked about all this stuff on many different podcasts. I think about how I watch people walk through life and they appear to walk with an arrogance, a grandiosity. As one friend I was recently talking to used the term braggadocious. And they even walk with that sometimes. And then I think about someone who is very gorgeous, physically gorgeous in this world. And she walks through the world without that arrogance. And then when I speak with her, she truly knows she has it internally. And she's a nice looking lady. And she doesn't walk through the world acting like she's better looking than someone else. To find that center balance in life is important to me. To find that center or that balance or whatever terminology you may use. And the reason, there's many different reasons I say that, because to me that's the essence of everything. I recently said something on a podcast that I believe that I'm more attractive than I am good looking. I don't doubt that. I think that that's real. It's kind of like talking about how I do certain things, I say certain things, I show up in a certain way. I hear a story of an elderly man reaching the century mark, and he plants a tree, and someone asks him, "Why would you plant a tree? You'll never be able to see this bear fruit." And he says, "I plant a tree believing that I will live forever." In other words, of course I'll see it. And he lives his life that way. And then someone like me that lives the life the opposite. I live my life as if it might be my last day that I'm granted the breath of life today. And I do the exact same thing he does. Because I am here to leave it for the next 7 generations. Everything that I do is about someone else so often. It's not about me. Can I benefit from things? I can. Again, this goes back to an episode I talked about when I spoke of the idea of the difference between selfishness and self-care. When I do it for someone else and I benefit from it, that's great. That's self-care. So, moving forward with this and paying attention to the best of my ability to how I am going to be grateful for the breath of life today because it may be my last day here. This is the way I move through life. And I think about the way that I heard these lines. They were consecutive lines. There was about 3 or 4 sentences maybe. And because of the way that my mind maybe races or how fast I think or whatever it is when something comes at me, I was conscious of this at one point, that I heard them as separate lines. Even though these lines came consecutively quickly. I think about the line, If you had just a minute to breathe. And my thought was, I hope everyone that I know has peace, shares kindness, and lives with a good heart. That's all I had, was that essence around that. I don't know that that was my exact thought. It was the essence of that. And it was about other people, and it was about love, and it was about kindness and compassion. And I just think that that's wonderful. And that's what I want in the world, and that's who I want to be. So if I have that one last minute, my wish is for you. It's not for me. So, as the line goes on, if you had just a minute to breathe, and they granted you one final wish, that would be my wish. It continues to be the same. If they granted me one final wish in my last minute, it would be about compassion, love, dignity, respect, that others may carry that you carry a good heart. The people I care for and the people I know and the people that love me, you carry a good heart. You walk through this world good. You treat other people well. As the line continues, if you had just a minute to breathe and they granted you one final wish, would you ask for something like another chance? Nope, I would not. I'm good. I'm good. I like the fact that if I'm going to take my long journey today, and I knew I had a minute to breathe, I would exit with pride, and I would be ready to take that long journey back home. I know I'm compassionate about the things that I talk about and who I am and how I move through the world. And I move with a certain emotional sensitivity, because I want to believe that today could be my last day. Now, if I had a period of time, would I want to reach out to certain people? I would. I'd go see certain people. I'd attempt to see my siblings and the parents I have alive and my children and grandchildren, and spend some time with them and let them know that what they do for other people will impact them by far more than what they do for themselves if they want to carry a good heart. I love when I heard this, that it wasn't a selfish thought, wasn't a selfish idea, it wasn't a selfish motivation behind it. If you had just a minute to breathe, and they granted you one final wish, would you ask for something like another chance, or something similar as this? For me, I'm going to walk with a good heart. I understand the elder that does the opposite that I do and lives the same way I live. When he transplants a tree, maybe, I don't know. And someone says, you'll never see it bear fruit. And he says, I planted it as if I will live forever. I truly believe it's the same essence I have when I know that I'm not granted another day tomorrow. I may not be gifted the breath of life again tomorrow. How about if I live today with love, dignity, respect, honor for me and for you? Whether you're part of my world yet or not, why would I live any other way other than showing you some respect? Even though I haven't met you, even though you're not part of my inner circle, even though all kinds of parameters could be put on it by other people, I don't need to. I've talked about the fact that I like to walk with a good heart. I haven't always lived the way I live. I do my very best on this podcast to be able to talk about things in a good way. And I do my best to be able to talk about what appears to be the positive from my point of view. Now, I get that sometimes I'll hear a song, for example, or I'll hear something and so I'll hear someone, it gives me so much hope. And it takes me to a place where I have so much hope. And maybe because I've been to the depths and I can relate to that and I'm not there today. And so now I have hope again. And someone else will say, oh, that song is so dark. That music is so dark. And I'm like, it takes me to a place of hope. So sometimes when we hear a certain message, I get that we're going to hear it different than someone else does. Something will come across to us differently. I think that's good. I think that each one of us is a unique manifestation of Creator. And I think that that's awesome. And we are by far more similar than we are different. What is the essence that you want to walk with today? What is it that you think of when people ask you if you had just a minute to breathe and they granted you one final wish? Would you ask for something like a second chance? You have it today. If that's your journey, that you believe you would ask for one more chance, another chance, a second chance, you have it today. You've been gifted the breath of life today. Make that chance today. That's what this is about. That's what life is about, is you do have another chance. You've been gifted a second chance by you changing your mind today, you changing the way that you treat people, you changing the way that you treat yourself. How is it you're going to affect yourself today? Do you realize you have another chance when you wake up again tomorrow and you're gifted the breath of life tomorrow, if you are? And if not, are you going to take that long journey with a good heart and know you did everything you could today? I will. I'll be happy to. I look forward to it. I look forward to that long journey. Sometimes when people hear me speak of it, they think that I'm ready. And I want to believe that I'm ready if my time is to come. And if not, and I live for many more decades, maybe live as long as what I have already, to what would most people would see it to being an old man, I'm good with that too. As long as I carry a good heart today, I have another chance today because I've been gifted the breath of life. Are you going to take another chance to be derogatory, to be mean? Or are you going to take another chance to be loving, respectful, live with dignity, walk with a good heart? What kind of chance do you want? You co-create it today. When you're gifted that breath of life today, you have begun to co-create everything that you need. When you're gasping for that last breath, and you're in that last minute before you take that long journey, don't be asking for another chance. Make that chance today. I will do everything in my power to be able to continue to do this podcast, whether people are listening, watching, or whether people disregard it, because it allows me to examine things like this. It allows me to take a look at me. It allows me to honor that seventh direction and go in. I watched some people do Vision Quest recently, and they came down off that hill doing Humbalichape. And they honored that seventh direction for almost 2 days straight. They went in. It was them and Unchimaka and Tukashila, Mother Earth and Grandfather Sky, and them. That Star Nation and all those people that have returned. I want to do that each and every day of my life. Looking forward to next time. Live in harmony with and use the bounty of the land to bring kindness to the world. Dok Shao, okay?